just to recap where we're at. On the phone here with us, we hope to get it set up as a Zoom meeting, but on the phone with us is Brian Layton. Brian is a constitutional lawyer. He's a lawyer that represented Fresno County. Fresno County did take an action against the state in this name change. They took it all the way through the appellate court. The appellate court held against Fresno County. They cited that Fresno County did not have legal standing to sue the state on our behalf. That any lawsuit against the state would have, that's basically where we stand and why we're sitting here today. There's two sides to this issue. One is the federal side, one is the state side. The federal side is something that we don't need to try to file an action against, but we're going to pursue that by going directly to the new Secretary of the Interior, which is Doug Burgum, and if necessary to the President, urging them to revoke the federal action that was taken to make Squaw Valley word squaw a name that was not a derogatory name.
Exactly.
We can do that through that process. We don't need anything more than that. Unfortunately, to pursue it on the state side, we have to file a lawsuit against the state to either get the decision reversed or to get our name taken away from the AB 2022. And that decision has to be made by us. We're looking at somewhere between $35,000 and $50,000 is what it's potentially going to cost us. The hope is
cost us anything. Why?
The hope is that between us as a community, what we can raise, and also putting together a GoFundMe, because we feel that there's a lot of people out there that would support what we're doing, whether or not they live in Squaw Valley. Just the action that was taken against us, it could be taken against other communities. We think that there is a real opportunity to get support from outside the area. But it's got to start with us. The reason we had everybody sign in, when we filed the lawsuit, everybody's name has to be on it. And there'll be ample opportunity for those that didn't get here. But this is where it starts.
Lonnie.
Go ahead.
Brian, let me interrupt you there. On this lawsuit, I would propose that we would just title it like Friends of Squaw Valley versus State of California.
The video's not working. The video's not working.
And that is, we don't have to have everybody's name to it, and the big reason is they can't pick, the state can't pick on any one individual. All they do is pick on me. And but the big monetary thing is for every native plaintiff, the fee is $345. So if we list everybody, if we list 10 people, that's $3,450. So if we just use Friends of Squaw Valley, an unincorporated association of people that are pissed off that the state is changing their name, and it's only a one-time fee of $345.
Now you know why we've got Brian on board.
Yeah, part of my language is
Now, Brian, if you would, just give us a brief synopsis of where we stand and what needs to be done and the kinds of things that we'll be going through.
Well, when this thing was first came up, Matzik, Supervisor Matzik, called me and asked me if I'd be interested in perhaps representing the county in contesting this. And so when I talked to him, I said, well, why won't the county council do it? And he said the county council wasn't that enamored with suing the state. Plus, they didn't think they could prevail. So, I had a meeting with the Board of Supervisors. The Board of Supervisors voted 3-2 to proceed with the lawsuit. They limited the amount of funds that could be spent, etc. And I had filed a brief with the Board of Supervisors and the County Council. And once they authorized me to file a lawsuit, I did. Part of the problem is because I've been in contact with Lonnie, and he said there'd be a lot of people interested in joining our lawsuit. I was trying to save you guys money to stop you from filing your own separate lawsuit. So when I spoke to the county council, he said that I could not represent any private parties in this suit. I could only represent the county. So you guys would have to hire your own separate counsel. It would have been nice if we had somebody that could file a lawsuit as a friend of the court saying this affects us, etc. Well, when it came to the Court of Appeals and the Superior Court, the Court of Appeals said that the county is merely a subsidiary of the state of California. So unless there's special circumstances, and there's only a few defined special circumstances, the county cannot sue the state. Because the county is merely subservient to the state. Except as defined in the Constitution, which this is not covered. There's an exception to it, is if the county is affected by the law, which this is, and they are standing up for the people in their jurisdiction, which we claim that you guys are in their jurisdiction, and the county is trying to protect your rights. Well, there's different cases, and the Court of Appeals are going to decide to go with one string of cases where we would have to show that nobody in Squaw Valley, it would be very difficult for anybody in Squaw Valley to bring a suit on their own. But we couldn't show that. Because it's not impossible for people to bring their own lawsuit. It's not, it's difficult only because it costs money. So anyway, that's what the state, that's what the Court of Appeals ruled is, since the county can't sue the state, and the county can't represent your community because people in the community could bring the suit on their own, that's why they threw on our case. So now, because that's over with, I can represent you subject to certain conditions and limitations that I have. If you guys want to sue the state. So anyway, sorry to interrupt you, Lonnie.
No, not at all.
Not at all. That's what we were looking for, Brian, and to get a basic understanding of exactly where we're at right now and kind of what lays before us. When we spoke earlier, you had said, look, this is obviously no slam dunk. There is the potential to win, but we're still going up against the courts. And maybe you could kind of give a little background on that and what we might be looking at, just to kind of confirm monetarily what we might be in for.
Okay, well, especially in California, the state legislature can pass any law that they want, except those barred by the Constitution, the California Constitution or U.S. Constitution. There is nothing in the California Constitution that bars the state from renaming a community or a city a city's a little bit more difficult, but any community or any geographical area, if they want to. The courts have said that that's a political question, and if we don't like what they're doing, we can vote them out of office, which is just a chicken shit way to say things. Because people in Squaw Valley cannot vote out anybody except somebody in your own district. So since there's nothing in the California Constitution that bars them from doing this, we have to resort to latent type law, which is, in this case, we would claim that the state, by changing the name of Squaw Valley to something else, for merely political reasons and politically correct reasons, it forces you to use the name chosen by the state. You'll have to use it on all your postings, on your, everything. If you live there, obviously your address would have to change on everything. If your business is there, everything would have to change. So they're compelling you to use the name to promote their message, which is Youngest Valley, which is another way of saying you cannot use Squaw Valley in any of your identifications. Now, some courts would say, well, Leighton, where the hell do you get this? Well, there's a beautiful case in 1979 by the U.S. Supreme Court where a Jehovah's Witness in New Hampshire, who drove the vehicle like everybody else, he had a license plate, he had a license plate number like all of you do, but at the top of the license plate in the following letters was the state motto, live free or die. And it was a crime if you defaced it or covered it up. So anyway, he sued, saying it violated his free speech rights because he was being forced to be a billboard for the state's message of live free or die. In your case, you're being the billboard for the state's message of Youngest Valley instead of Squaw Valley. So, free speech guys and gals would love this. State Superior Court judges in Fresno, they're basically neutered. They don't deal with cases like this. They're basically statists, which means they don't want to rule against the state. They like the comfort of their position, so they don't want to upset the state. So it's like, go along to get along. Rarely do you have a judge, especially anymore, since virtually every one or so are appointed by Newsom or Brown, that are going to say, yeah, you're right, First Amendment challenge fly. The second thing is if you took a vote of the Superior Court judges, especially publicly, they would say that Squaw Valley is pejorative, horrible name, it's insulting, derogatory, etc. So we have that going against you. Now, when the state attorney going against me in this other case brought that up, is obviously California has the right to change an insulting name, and it's not protected by the free speech. I reminded them and the court that there was a Supreme Court case where the Federal Patent Office was trying to prevent somebody from trademarking the word, the band named the Slams. They were a Laotian band. They called themselves the Slams. That was derogatory, obviously, but that's what they wanted to name their band. The U.S. Supreme Court, again, and this is a 2008 case or 2009 case, said no. The First Amendment doesn't allow you to decide whether it's in bad taste or derogatory or not. So we have that going for us. Again, going against us is when you get to the Court of Appeals, everybody on the Court of Appeals, which would be a Court of Appeals here in Fresno, they're all appointed by Newsom or Brown. So, then if it went to the California Supreme Court, everyone there was appointed by Newsom or Brown. So that is the uphill climb you have. But if you do nothing, you're going to be forever stuck with Squaw Valley unless you can get Secretary of Interior Bergen to reverse what the feds did, at least allow you to keep the post office. Anyway, I'll just wait for questions.
Questions,
We took this to court once before about the name Squaw Valley when they fought it once before, and we won the right to do that. Isn't there documentation of that, and isn't that in our favor?
Oh yeah, well that is, but here's the problem. Is since then, back in the, I'm trying to think of the year.
1956.
Legislators and politicians have gone all politically correct on us. Back then it was absolutely fine. In fact, the name Squaw Valley was being fought over because the Olympics tried to use the place up by Tahoe as Squaw Valley, and Bernie Sis down here fought us to keep it down here. So things have changed. So the fact that we won, it would have been nice if there was a published case, but it was all done by politicians and by politics that allowed Squaw Valley to remain.
The problem with that is that was a federal decision, and what we're faced with right now is an action against the state. So
Yes, and that was also a federal political decision, not a federal court decision.
go ahead.
Yeah.
Hello?
Who was it?
I have a question.
You're on their way for a question.
We're getting a question there.
My name is Ron Pierce. I live in the community. I had some experience with the courts in this state, and everything you're saying fits with what I have found out. The entire court system can't be trusted for anything but its own interests, including the Federal District Court of Northern California, where this would obviously go. They're a shill for the state. So we'd probably have to pursue this all the way to the Supreme Court.
It's a Supreme Court ticket, yes.
So we'd have to follow the Administrative Procedures Act all the way to the Supreme Court?
No, here's how we proceed. We would file in the Fresno County Superior Court. It would then go to the California Court of Appeals in Fresno.
Which is corrupt.
We then petition for review before the California Supreme Court.
Which is even more corrupt.
Okay, and then they will probably deny review, and then you petition to the U.S. Supreme Court.
Okay, so you don't have to go through the federal appellate court system.
No, and I want to avoid the federal courts here because they've all been appointed by Obama and Biden.
Yeah, in some cases they're worse than the state court.
Yes, because they have life tenure.
So we're talking about Friends of Squaw Valley, $325 overall to file it in court.
$325 as a pilot. Maybe I think it's $375 now.
Okay, so
$375 if we list just a single plaintiff.
yeah, where you would consolidate all of us under one voice.
Yeah, because I did that on the One Community Compact is an unincorporated association of concerned people that reside on California Avenue, Ventura, King Canyon, when they changed it to Cesar Chavez Boulevard. So it's just one plaintiff.
So it would be roughly a little under $400 for all of us to start it, and then it would cost again to go to the appellate court, and then it would cost again to go to the Supreme Court. Knowing
Well, your big charge is going to be the attorneys that are handling it. As I explained to Lonnie, without going into detail, is my eyes at this crucial time have decided to take a dump on me. And I can't read. I mean, it's very slow reading. Doctors are trying to correct my feet because I can't wear shoes. So, as an attorney in court, I suck right now. But what I told Lonnie is that I could find an attorney to do like the legwork, but I would just be looking over his shoulder and telling him what working in concert with him to get the best complaint that we could file and the best briefs and stuff.
Okay, I got a question. When I was growing up in school, we had a dictionary. It says Squaw Valley means woman, girl, female.
Absolutely.
Why don't somebody
Absolutely.
get the damn Supreme Court to read the dictionary? And I'm 70, and this is when I was in school, when I was growing up.
It doesn't say that now. It says it's a slur now.
My
Well-
dictionary says, the new dictionary does.
All I can say is
Mine is, it's way back.
there are a lot of people, even the Native Americans, who do not believe that it's derogatory. There are a lot of people that would say that it is derogatory, especially everybody on the left who consider it to be very derogatory. That shouldn't, legally, that should not make the difference under the First Amendment. That's why people can swear up a storm in public. That's how you get X-rated movies, etc. It shouldn't make a difference under the First Amendment law, but judges have a hard time pretending like there isn't a problem with it. Okay, here's what the Court of Appeals said in that regard. We use the term, quote, squaw, end quote, Squaw Valley, end quote, from time to time in this opinion, rather than a designation for the terms such as squaw and SQ blank or SQ blank valley to avoid unnecessary confusion or suggestions of bias or in our decision. We mean no respect to Native Americans and those who are offended by the term. So that's how they danced around it, but you know it's in the back of their mind. Their ears may have perked up a little bit to be a little bit more helpful to us if they wanted to change it from Squaw Valley to, I don't know, Pine Cone Valley or something.
Mr. Layton, I'm Donna Standard. I'm a resident of Squaw Valley. I'm also an attorney. I've got a real problem with the way this went down in that if the counties, and I read the decision from Judge Slur, and I think the standing issue is, it's too late now, but I think the county did have standing, and this is my thought on this. In order for the county to assess property, that is done by the deed of purchase. And if you look at the assessment rolls on every deed of purchase, on every AP number, there is a date associated with the date of acquisition. That date corresponds with a grant deed or a transfer document on that particular day. Now, if they change the name to Yokuts Valley, and I've noticed that the assessor rolls have not changed it yet, they're still calling it Squaw Valley. But if they change it to Yokuts Valley without reforming our deed, because that's what in essence they're doing, then A, the county does have standing, and B, we're the ones that are damaged because of this. But nevertheless, I think it's something that goes to, do they have the right and ability to put us on an assessor tax roll when technically and legally that property does no longer exist? And I don't think they thought this through at all. That's my position.
Well, I heard you were probably right in that regard. They also said that just because the law required the county to make sure that all the signs were changed around there, the Yokuts Valley, they couldn't put up, what's this, I don't know what's this, and they couldn't reuse the Squaw Valley in any signage at all, or on maps. To me, that affected the county of Fresno because they were banned from doing this and that. The court did not care. So I don't, and here's the other thing, the practical thing is, the legal thing is the county is never going to go back and sue again and say, hey, by the way, you got it wrong. So it's up to us, and I think we ought to renew our efforts and perhaps get a petition signed to send to Bergen, and in the Department of Interior to get that changed.
Question.
Are you there? Yeah.
Hello, sorry.
Yeah.
My name's Naomi. I am the daughter of Darlene Oliver, Virginia Osborne. We come from Bear Mountain. We are the Wixashis of the area, and so I wanted to ask, is there any type of way we can maybe add like a tribal front into the lawsuit? Whatever we need to do on the tribal side to kind of, I guess, help it. I'm at lost words right now, I'm hot. But like I've heard, it's true, there are natives that don't find it derogatory. There are some. I've happened to take, conversations and had meals with people asking them, what's your issue? I was raised not to really have conflict. If you knew my grandma Virginia, she was a very sweet lady. I was raised up here, it was community, and we all helped each other. And so people on the outside who don't live here, who came last time to try to represent the tribe, they weren't from here. They live in Salinas. He has the title of chairman for the Wixashis on the state registry, but I also learned from other elders from other tribal areas that we can branch off on our own and create our own, tribal council for our direct family, for the descendants who are actually from Squaw Valley. So my family is in motion right now. I've been doing my homework to learn what I need to do so they can vote me in as their chair. I don't know nothing, but I'm learning, and I have my elders here teaching me because my people are going without as well. So that's what I'm trying to create for my, direct family, our descendants, everything, our youth. And a lot of the conversation stirred back to, well, Waxahachis aren't even there no more, saying we're not here, because I don't live here, I live in Madera. We moved when we were young, that was out of my control, I was a child, I don't have the means to buy a house and, okay, I'm gonna come back just to have a stake of land and say I can have a say. I have a say regardless, this is my bloodland. And so for people to keep challenging, oh, you're not from there no more, them themselves not even ever being here, that's been my frustration. Because I don't find it derogatory, I don't find it in a way that it's gonna take me out my day. Like, it's just, to me, it's home. So I wanna do what I need to do to support keeping it as Squaw Valley, because it is our home, it is part of our tribe. When we move in to our sitting council, we're gonna vote in our name, and a couple of our options were the Waxahachis of Squaw Valley. So if they're gonna have an issue with that, then that's gonna cause another tribal front of us having to go and pursue legal action on them as well, because I don't know what their hand would be on controlling us as a tribe. So is there any way that we can kind of use us as, not use us, but include us in this, I guess, pursuit to keep it how we want it? Because, I'm for it, but I also want to see if there's also support for people who actually live here. Are we able to come back and establish community connection? Like, is there lands that we can have access to? Can we have ceremonial, areas that we need? Even just helping, sending me locations for, see what value and how much I need to come up with. I don't know the lands anymore. I have to come back. I have to reconnect. So.
We do have the Indian cemetery that's been here forever.
Okay.
Yes.
Still,
And our family still maintains that. Yeah, so we are here, we are, our ancestors are up on the hill. So however you can guide me, like, I'm for it. I don't know all the proper legal, political terms, but if I have to go up to bat, if I have to sit next to you in court, then I'm willing to do that.
What I was going to propose, without being presumptuous, although I did talk to Lonnie about this some time ago, is he advised me there are a number of Native Americans from Squaw Valley, from around Squaw Valley, that do not find the term offensive, and they do not want the name changed. What I would do is, in my identification of you, like friends of Squaw Valley versus the state of California, I would define, this is off the top of my head, Friends of Squaw Valley, comma, an unincorporated association of residents of Fresno County and residents and both Native American and non-Native American residents and business owners, and add in more language that have joined together to stop the state from changing the name Squaw Valley. And then in the plaintiff, further description in the complaint, is further describing you as the plaintiffs, the members of the plaintiff association consists of non-Native Americans and Native Americans. Native Americans that weren't part of the Yokins tribe, but were part of another tribe associated with Squaw Valley. I mean, Squaw Valley is non-denominational as far as tribes go. But so you would be in there as a plaintiff, and the plaintiffs would consist of Native Americans that are not offended and are very upset for changing the name Squaw Valley. It's like now they found out that this big brouhaha about the Washington Redskins changed the name. All the people were up in arms. They have to change it. It's so derogatory and offensive. They did, and now the Native Americans are saying, "Wait, why'd you do that? We don't want it. It was an honor." So I think there's a lot more people that are. I think there's a lot more of you that are opposed to the name change than are in favor of it, except what they say out in public. So you would be represented in our complaint without naming.
I have a question for you. My name is Keith Burles. I've been up here 22 years and I love living here and I love the people. Why was it so easy for them to come in and change the name after we took a valid vote? I mean, I just don't get that. Is it money like they bought off the Washington Redskins? I mean, how did this turn out to be such a big problem?
Well, the fact of the matter is it's all political. Once the federal Secretary of the Interior under Biden, Deb Haaland, Native American, her first thing that she wanted to do was issue an executive order to ban the name Squaw Valley or Squaw out of any geographical everywhere in the United States. And they found there's like 667 across the United States. Only 6 happen to be communities. A community is Squaw Valley. But that only dealt with federal maps and federal identifying features. It would be up to the states to do anything else. So the California legislature and the Secretary of the Interior for the California Interior Department, although I think it's called Natural Resources or something like that, they're Native American. And of course, they jumped on the bandwagon, and the California legislature has a supermajority of Democrats. They passed this legislation. But what they did in there is to pretend to give you a veto rights, not to veto the legislation, but to choose the next name. Said that they shall consider the vote of the community being affected. Well, Squaw Valley was affected, so they did vote. And 87% wanted to keep the name Squaw Valley. But since they said that since the legislation, once they had to change the name Squaw Valley, it could not be Squaw Valley. It said that they could pick a secondary name. The secondary name was Bear Valley. The legislature, not the legislature, but the committee underneath the legislature voted against that because it was too close to, what is it, a mountain or something called Bear Valley or Bear Mountain?
Yeah, Bear Valley.
Okay. That's why they went with Yoga's Valley for some reason. So anyway, you got railroaded by politicians is what happened.
That makes sense.
You can say money was involved, etc., but, I mean, at least 3 members of the Board of Supervisors wanted to fight it.
Okay, so to recap, kind of what we're faced with is the probability that we file a lawsuit with the Superior Court. That goes on to the Court of Appeals. That goes on to the state Supreme Court, and maybe eventually has to go all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. Obviously, a daunting task and one that's going to take a long time. The real question is that something that we want to do? Do we want to keep our name enough to put ourselves out there and say, oh no, we are not changing our name. We want to do this fight. That's why we're here today, is to make the decision. Do we want to go ahead and pursue this? Whatever it takes, we'll fill in the gaps as we gotta go. We'll find the money if we've gotta go. If it takes us 5 years, we take 5 years. Whatever it takes, we let the government know, the state of California, the federal government know, hell no, we're not going away. But the reason you're here today is to make the decision. Do we file the lawsuit? If we make that decision, I will go ahead and front the money that it takes to make the initial filing, and this thing will take its course. We've got a long ways to go. That's why you're here today.
Circulated a petition that said that the current Secretary of Interior, Doug Bergen, to ask him to change it, at least allow the post office to remain the same, so you can legitimately and legally call it Squaw Valley.
All right.
You can still call it Squaw Valley all you want. The only thing is, I don't know how much longer they're gonna allow the post office to be able to use that as their postal address.
What about the financial?
Deeds and stuff.
Okay, the financial aspects, that's why I asked when you guys filed here, is whether you're willing to support. Once we get it started, then we're gonna have to pull together the monies, we'll set up a GoFundMe account, whatever it takes. You know, the real commitment starts with, we're not going away. If we make that commitment, then we do what's necessary to keep ourselves going in the direction of saving this community.
Lonnie, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Okay, so let's say the lawsuit's filed. First of all, what's the estimate of cost of attorney's fees to get it to the Supreme Court? I know what the filing fees are, and that's several $1,000s, depending. But if everything goes south, who's ultimately liable if there's an attorney fee claim from the other side?
The state cannot sue for attorney, the state cannot get attorney's fees.
Okay, and,
They can get costs.
okay,
Costs are very specific, very limited.
okay, and so, an estimate of attorney's fees to the Supreme Court would be about what?
Well, a lot depends upon how much of not how much of a fight the state puts up, but what kind of a fight. The state could feel comfortable just filing a demur to our complaint, or a motion to dismiss on the pleadings, claiming that, oh, Your Honor, in this other case, the court found this way, the court found that way, etc. Although this Court of Appeals decision that I'm just telling you about, when the county sued, it's an unpublished opinion, which means it's not binding on any other court. The county may just take the easy way out, file a demur, or a motion for judgment on the pleas with all of his paperwork right then, and see if the Superior Court agrees. If the Superior Court agrees, then the court dismisses it, then we file a notice of appeal. I think that's $775, the finding to be on the Court of Appeals, and we file the briefs there. If instead of filing a motion to dismiss or a demur in the Superior Court, they decide they're going to try to depose anybody and everybody that's associated with your association, then that's just going to run the meter. That's horrible. But they don't want to do that. They think that it's an easy case. They don't want to do the work. So we just go from there. I mean, if they're gonna start subpoenaing anybody and everybody for depositions in this case, or prolong discovery, then we can have a conversation then. But I don't think they're gonna do that because they are typically lazy.
Hi, my name is Tracy Carroll, and I have a question about, because the money could be a big issue here, right? A lot of people are retired, may not be able to donate that much. You talked about the GoFundMe, which I think is great, but there are also lawyer groups that I thought were out there that were defending First Amendment rights and things like that. Could we, I remember there was a gentleman in Wyoming who got all the permits and built a pond on his property, right? He didn't stop the water, but he built a pond that the animals used, and then the EPA came after him, and they were fining him. His fines, I think, got up to like $75 million.
There are firms that might be taking interest in this case, but they're very picky on the number of cases or the type of cases they will take, only because they get hundreds of requests per year. I could reach out to them like the Civic Legal Foundation, and there are some other free speech types cases. I could reach out to them to find out if they're interested. But right now, I mean, they're well, under Biden, they were very, very busy. under Newsom, they're very, very busy. You know, the preferred pronouns and the mandatory pronoun usage, they're tied up in all those cases. But I will check around with them. I know who to contact for them to give me a list of that type of group. I haven't been in contact with them since 2015. And there's new groups now. But I will check that out. It's a very good idea.
I can talk about it, I don't need Mike. I just wanted to know if, while we're going through this process, I'm not on, while we're going through this process, saying it's gonna drag out for 5 years or whatever, what's to say that we can't take the Yo Cut sign down because nothing is solid yet?
Right. Yeah, girl. Yeah. And get it off the news.
Google.
Get off Google. Get off Google.
Supposedly it's not quote unquote lawfully called Yo Cuts yet. It's only our lovely Governor Newsom that has decided to make it Yo Cuts. So why can't we take the sign down until it's actually official?
That's right. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Good girl.
Well, is there a sign there now that says Yogi Tally?
Yes.
Yes.
Caltrans.
Is it a state sign or is it
It's a Caltrans.
County.
I do not advise anybody that's a criminal act because it belongs to Caltrans. But one thing you can do instead of taking down the sign and without defacing it, you can cover it with a piece of plastic.
They got a video on it.
I'm not recommending you do that because they say that defacing, even though all they have to do is lift it up, take it off. You're not spray painting it, you're not removing it. But it sure would bring some attention to it for your GoFundMe.
They got a camera on it.
Hi, I'm Judy Liefel. I'm concerned about them punishing us. By that I mean the post office, the library, Caltrans, fire department. I can see Newsom doing something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Because his panties are in a bunch right now with everything going on, and he'll come after us. And is that a possibility? Can any of that be stopped? I mean,
who will go after us?
Newsom.
Don't vote for him, he won't come after us.
He's already got a call in his home.
Well,
Not yet.
Newsom has too many things on his plate right now. He could, but you know, if you put up your own sign, say Squaw Valley, ignore the other sign, say Yogi Valley, it's not Yogi Valley, etc., just to be a nuisance to them without breaking the law, just put them up all over there. And one of those yahoos,
I like that idea.
What's the guy's name, is Ray Taker, whatever his name is, front and center and all going down.
Why can't we put an orange garbage bag over it like it's a construction cover-up?
Yeah. Caltrans does it all the time.
Yeah.
The issue.
No, but you can't deface the sign.
That's what I'm facing it, it's temporary.
Yeah.
Put up your own sign.
Okay, the issue is, if we do something that gives them something to try to go back on, we're dealing with that. And the idea is not to shoot ourselves in the foot. I have commercial property. We can put up as large a sign as we want. It's not advertising. I have frontage from my office all the way to the large ranch area. And as long as we put it on our private property, we can put up a statement that this is Squaw Valley, make it as big as
It
we
will
want.
always be Squaw Valley, it ain't to do
Exactly.
Just like Bear Mountain.
dictated by the government. Because here's the great thing about this, okay? This is one of the reasons why I love the First Amendment. This causes people like Newsom and the Democrats to get their chonies in a wad and go ballistic, which then, and they'll try to go after you, which then really causes an in-your-face violation of the First Amendment. This is your own message. The fact that you don't like our message, and we're making fun of your message, is exactly why the First Amendment was dreamed up to put in our Constitution in the first place. Because there's nothing the matter with stabbing the bear, poking the bear a little bit, when if they come back after you, the First Amendment will always be on your side as long as you don't deface their property.
I have a question. I heard some talk of possibly it getting to Trump. And I feel if there's anybody who's going to be on our side with all this, it would be Trump. And I mean, how many letters does it take with this kind of issue of wokeness attacking our town before he actually sees what's happening here?
Well, the only thing he can make an action on is to reverse the federal action, which is the U.S. Order 3404. That's what Deb Haaland signed on the federal side.
What he would do is he would direct Bergen to do it, but if you go directly to Bergen can make it look like it's his idea.
Exactly.
He'd probably get the approval of Trump on the lowdown and then do it. Somebody just has to bring it to his attention.
The whole idea there is that we play the game backwards.
Will letters help? Converting?
Letters very, very possibly mail. We'll make an initial contact with him. That's one front of it, the federal side. This here primarily is to focus on the state side. And again, is there anybody here that's opposed to moving forward with the lawsuit?
I got a question on it though. Yeah. One is, what do you think the odds are that we're just not throwing good money after bad?
Brian, the question was, what are the odds that we're not just throwing good money after bad?
The odds are not in your favor.
They are not.
No.
But, no, they're not.
Give us a percentage of your estimation.
But right now, the U.S. Supreme Court would be in favor if it got there. California Supreme Court is a no, a big fat no. You may have a court of appeals here in Fresno that says, hey, let's take a chance on this.
That's likely.
But what I do like is get on Secretary Bergen now to see what he can do. Get your sign up. And let's think this sign thing through, not the idea of the sign, but what it can say to poke the bear, to drum up money for the GoFundMe account, and to piss off Sacramento.
But that's not our goal. Our goal is to keep our name.
So you're right. The goal is to keep our name. And every journey starts with a first step. And in our case here, our first step is make the decision to move forward with the lawsuit.
That's true.
We may get to a point to where we say, you know what, we're just not going to win this fight, and we're going to back away. And we pull from there. I for one am willing to take this all the way to the Supreme Court if we have to. It's too big. It's too big of a slap in the face to this community and potentially other communities all across this country to take this kind of slap of our First Amendment rights.
Quick question.
I'm behind you.
I second that.
I'm behind you.
Quick question. I've been waiting a while. Quick question. Okay, so you're talking about letters and stuff to Doug Burgum, and you're talking about the Trump administration. Is there some way before we start any lawsuit, we could do a notice of cease and desist to these agencies to kind of give them a heads up? Could we patch that in before we actually initiate a lawsuit?
Well, we do Bergen, we do our sign. And the sign, I'm not trying to be funny with our sign. What I'm trying to do is to have them, have Sacramento and the local legislators, you know, the Miguel Arias and that whole group of little dictators to go ballistic, to get it out in the press, be pissed off, etc. Because if they try to
Well, wouldn't they get pissed off if we involved Doug Burgum from the start?
if they try to come after you, then it only goes to show how powerful our First Amendment rights are being violated. How that claim is.
Now, you have to remember that there's two sides. There's the federal side and the state side. And even if Bergen says, okay, well, we're gonna reverse that effectively would save our post office. It has no effect on California AB 2022, which is a state action. Anything that the feds do is not going to stop whatever the state of California is doing. So we have two prongs there that we have to do, and we'll pursue them both. But we have to start.
And you know, the other thing is the letter to Bergen. I would also make sure you send a copy of it to Vince Fong, who's a representative around here. You know, he's in the U.S. Congress, and he's a Republican.
Lonnie, my name is Frank Blankenship. I just, you know what, guys, we've been around here for about an hour now. We've got a lot of information. And I think that the point of this meeting was to decide whether we want to go forward or not. Personally, I think we should. Yes. And I think it's time to vote and go home and have some dinner.
I can one up you. I need to get off and use the restroom since I'm an old guy.
Well, let's do it this way, since I think we're gonna have it. Let's have a show of hands of everybody in favor of pursuing the lawsuit. I see about 100 hands, Brian. Okay, now, show of hands of everybody opposed to pursuing the lawsuit. We have one hand. So, it's basically 100 to 1, Brian.
Hey!
So,
Not one or two?
correct.
Okay, well, no, I mean, that's fine.
Pardon?
You actually have a First Amendment right not to.
Absolutely. Okay, so with that,
All the petition to redress your grievances, which also gives you the concomitant right not to redress the grievances.
so with that, I want to thank everybody for coming down here. We will start the wheels in motion. We'll work on the sign. We'll work on the letter to Bergen. We have everybody's name, so we'll keep you informed of everything. You are the group that's here to save Squaw Valley.
Hi, before you guys take off, my
And
name's
we'd like to
Paulette.
thank both of you.
And I just want to let you know that all the information for writing letters, my husband and I do the SOS classified news. So we'll put all the information for where to write Bergen and Vince Fong and Trump and all that. It'll be in the next upcoming issue.
I still think we should do a notice to cease and desist.
Thanks so much for
And everybody signs it.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Brian.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, happy Father's Day tomorrow.
So, thank you, Brian. The sign up where you are.
I love your
that
hat.
says, "Welcome